What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 392 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, JR. My co-host with me, Alex.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
We are knee-deep in the season of scariness. So what better time to have on the hardest working man in the biz? I'm not even joking.
No.
I am... When this man tells me about what he did in the last 3 hours, I get exhausted because it's more work than I've done in the past month. But joining us this week is the owner, the founder, everything, not everything, the thing of Decimated Designs, Mr. Kyle Pasciuti.
Hi.
I said that right?
Yes.
Because I have you in my notes as Kyle Pasciuts, because that's just what
that works.
That's what we call you when you're not here.
Yeah. By the way,
the only one that anyone's ever come up with,
yeah,
it was in I think 4th grade. Was Kyle, please shoot me. That's
Wow.
not even. How do you make fun of? That's not.
was he begging?
When I get real silly with it, and I'm among good friends that mutual acquaintances, it's Kyle Pasciuti Tutti Frutti.
Okay.
Or Pascatuti.
I Kyle prosciutto a lot. Yep.
Yeah. Pasciuts, we're going to copyright that one. That's all viewed property. But
it was time for us to come up with something spooky to talk about. It's spooky month.
And you went hardcore.
Yes.
we're going hard.
Because I had to consider, what have we talked about in the past? Who have we had on in the past? Do we talk about haunting? Do we talk about makeup? Do we talk ghost stories? And we're still working through it. And I figured we'll talk about haunted houses. Let's have to specify. not like I had a supernatural
There's a ghost
stuff. But no.
This is the Casper podcast.
Yo, Casper's on Netflix right now.
Christina Ricci?
Yes.
Okay.
That's important.
Yeah.
That movie is bee's knees.
Yes.
Continue. I said to make that vital announcement.
There's a Doug Pascovich web strip where it's like Casper flying into a house and seeing a milk carton and seeing missing Richie Rich on it and going, "Hey, I know that kid. I killed him."
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, took a spin there. Anyway, so Kyle's been into a few things in the past. He's told us stories. I've heard some stories. They sound crazy, and he explains more of them to me, and then he goes back to them.
He's already smiling.
And we've never addressed it on the show before because we keep it pretty PG-13, I guess, is the highest we go. And it's not our usual fare because it's a thing that not everyone's going to know about.
Not everyone's going to even want to think about.
and even then, there's things where I've seen swerves online where it's you need to sign a waiver to stay at this haunted house. And I'm like, oh, is the house No, it's not. It's what we're going to talk about. And I want to play the game of don't call it that because that's not what it is.
We may have some varying opinions in this episode. Yeah, one of the rare in 392 episodes. This is about the 4th one with an actual possible disagreement.
So if you've ever heard of extreme haunted houses,
EXX or no E, just XXTREME.
And
right?
And it's something Kyle introduced me to that I've never heard about before, and it's I'm not sure if I wish I never heard of it, and I want to forget about it. But
you were so innocent before.
You have no idea. So it's time for us to enlighten our listeners and get some thoughts and share some opinions. And Kyle's been through a couple of them himself, and he'll let us know. He also ran your own version.
Yes.
And that I've been through.
Did I know that?
So it's not the one that Kyle did and that his friends were in, that my friends were in, that I brought my friends through.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as extreme as the show that we saw that I showed you.
Right.
It was still fun for me.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to get you.
I was going to say this later, but
yeah.
I have never seen Alex with a bigger smile on his face than when he came out at the end of our haunt, our extreme haunt. That was
I think that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Afraid Not. Pun intended. KNOT. Afraid Not.
So
A space FRAYED. Afraid not.
No, the first word was afraid.
Okay.
Be scared.
The second word was cannot.
I'm thinking too much about this.
Yes.
I'm overcomplicating it.
So when you go in, you're supposed to follow a rope through the house.
Right. Yes.
Pitch black.
Yeah.
Pitch black. You're
It's
holding
very
onto the
dark.
rope, following it through.
So like I had friends with me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to give away who they were, say their names or not. One friend was like, what we're going to get into later, he didn't know this is what we were doing. He thought we were just going through haunted houses. Because we hit Legends of Fear, and then Milton wanted to do yours, and I wanted to do yours. Mm-hmm. So like we kind of like brought the group of us with us. Mm-hmm. So it was me and Milton and a party of 3 other people. And so one of them finished it and was like really psyched. Like he was proud, he was brave. He felt courageous for going through it. Mm-hmm. Like he felt like he accomplished something for like making it through and choosing to do it. Mm-hmm. And then he even chose the glow stick to make it harder and worse.
There you go.
Because at the beginning, Kyle, like you get a choice. They'll go easy on you. I don't remember which color was which. Like,
I think it's green is easy, red is hard.
They'll go hard on you if you take the red glow stick in.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go easy on if you take the green glow stick. So I went through with green, and at one point, one of them goes, it's like, I'm at about 20 F-bombs for the entire run of the show.
Okay. We're gonna add one.
Add one.
So like I come around the corner, it's pitch black. I'm hearing like a conversation, and I come around not knowing what I'm doing, and like the person who's working that spot sees me, and she's like, "Turn around, face the wall, put your hands on the wall," and like yelling at me. And I do it. She like comes up to me and is like getting in my ear over my shoulder, like bunking me out some more. And she steps away, almost like forgot, and comes back to me. Goes, "Why the fuck did you pick the green one?" And then like goes away. And I'm like, I rode in my friend's car, and I don't want to get my friend's car dirty because we see people come out and they're just covered in shit, and like I was wearing my friend's car. And she like ignores me after
It's a
that.
valid concern.
Right.
I think you came out dirtier than just about anybody else. Well, like, to clarify, you also knew this person.
I knew most of the people in there.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
I feel like that kind of takes you out of it almost.
It kind of did. Like I recognize her. I never saw it. I don't think I saw Joe, and I don't know if I saw Noah. Like if they did catch me, I didn't catch them.
Right.
Joe was managing.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have seen him. If you saw him, that was a problem.
Because in line, when we were waiting to get in, at one point the 2 of them come by, and Noah just reached out with a slime hand and slimed me across the face.
Nice.
And like, but then we realized it crusts up real nice because my ear got all crusty, and I was able to like pick it off like a second skin. There was
like
a lot
Elmer's
of
glue on your hand.
Yeah.
Should we tell them what this even was?
There was a lot of slime in there. We should have get to the story without saying what it was.
Yeah.
So
extreme haunts.
Extreme haunts. So once upon a time, there were haunted houses, and they were nice and they were friendly. And
you go boo, and you go, oh my god.
You go boo, you go, oh my god. And they started with the tunnel of love, and at the end of the tunnel of love, there's all this mushy, and then something jumps out and scares you, and you jump into each other's arms, and then it moved from there to farming, and all these farms that had all this land and these tractors, and they were already doing these hay rides and stuff, and they just had a little bit of boo to the hay ride, and then stuff built, and all of a sudden, people started going, that's not scary. You can't scare me.
I've seen this before.
That's a dummy on a machine that's just popping out of the thing. This is hydraulics, dude.
Yeah, I know what this is. I've seen the movies.
That's a kid in makeup, man. It's not scary.
So how?
There's no chain on that chainsaw.
Giving away all the secrets, dude. Jesus Christ.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
So the question became, where do you go? What do you do next? What's the next? Like, if you can't put a real chain on a chainsaw, if you can't, really grab somebody and pull them into a basement, what do you do?
So with this, I'm gonna preface that like JR and myself, we're dry gentlemen. We don't imbibe, we don't drink. So like the concept of I need to drink to have fun is lost on the 2 of us. So I'm going to use that as a comparison.
Okay.
Whereas like if I go to a haunted house, I'm going because I kind of want to be scared, or I want to see the spooks, or I want to get surprised, or I want to get shocked somehow. I'm going to let myself do that.
Right.
Like, I'm going to tailor my expectations to have some fun tonight.
Right.
This is how I'm going to condition myself to feel. I'm not going to go in there as the tough guy being like, nothing's going to bother me. Nothing's going to scare me. I'm the toughest one here. Like, I'm just going to adjust myself to go have fun because I could do that.
Because you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my step in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna I'm just gonna preface this.
Yeah.
There's stuff I'm gonna say that a lot of people are just not gonna relate to.
Uh-huh.
Just straight up.
Okay.
And that you just kind of hit the nail on the head. You just really did.
Okay.
In that, like, there will be things that I'm gonna say that you're just not gonna understand unless you've done it, unless you've been to it, unless that's who you are and you've been living this life and all that kind of stuff. Just getting that out of the way. But yeah, the idea of like, oh, you know, even to go to the drinking analogy, like, oh, I've had that drink before. Now I need 2 of them.
Okay.
I can drink more than you. This drink, you know, the what's her name in Indiana Jones, where she's, you know, downing them.
Was that Marion?
Marion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having no effect. And this other guy's falling off.
Yeah.
That's how we kind of end up where we're at today.
Okay.
In the state of what's going on in the haunted house industry. So back to our nice humble haunts, haunted houses, and all of
It's
a
a
sudden,
zombie.
it's a zombie. And you've got people in costumes, you've got all this kind of stuff, and then, you know, a normal haunted house changes stuff up year to year. But at some point, people just went, "That's not enough. We have to come up with a gimmick." And that's kind of I'm gonna come back to this word gimmick a lot. This is kind of my thesis statement: is the word gimmick.
Okay.
Because the Tunnel of Love, the scary part at the end was a gimmick. Farm haunted houses, you had the farm, and then the haunt was the gimmick, and then all of a sudden, with the farm haunted houses, the haunted house made more money than the crops that were growing. And that's kind of how
Screw
some
farming.
of the, screw farming. That's how some of the largest haunted houses in the U.S. Exist, is because they started with farming. They did the haunted house. It got more. It started making more and more money. And you know, not to bring it back around to current day, but there's some certain things with farmers going on and politics and all that kind of stuff, and we're seeing a resurgence of that. And farm haunts are kind of a big thing again, and that's actually what I'm working at this year. But
is that why how we hear like names involving acres and fields and or manors? Yeah, Knott's Berry Farm is a huge one.
Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay.
There's a bumper sticker that I just saw. The people I'm working for, actually, they own Haunted Farms of America, and they have a bumper sticker that I need. It's going on my car this year. I only have one bumper sticker. This is adding number 2. No farms, no fear.
Because the no farms, no food bumper sticker.
And I need it.
That never occurred to me of how much farms gave way to haunted houses.
Right.
Or haunted hayrides.
I mean, farms are scary in general.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I don't like being in corn in the night.
Barns and stuff.
Barns.
Yeah. Barns are hella scary. That's where the zombies are.
How many horror movies have crept into a barn?
All of them.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I am very tame in my experiences.
This is not for you.
Yes, I'm well aware of it. I am, but I'm kind of prefacing like the haunted houses because I worked in one haunted house there. I've told the story every single spooky season. I worked in one haunted house. I was very bad at it. I'm not good at scaring people. I don't enjoy it. I'm just bad at it. I can accept that. I have no problem with being scared. I'll go through a haunted house and, you know, like I laugh when I get scared. You know, I do like the nervous laughing. But I have no problem with admitting like, holy shit, you scared the shit out of me. I'm not, you know, there's nothing. If you're the tough guy in the haunted house, I hate you.
Yes.
Everyone hates you. Everyone in that haunted house hates you. Quit being a dick. Just get scared.
Oh,
you're allowed to get scared.
If I go through a haunted house and you scare me, I'm going to remember where you were, what you were dressed as, and the owner of that haunted house is going to be thanking your stars.
I'm going to find your boss and tell him you got me real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I worked in a haunted house, very bad at it. And then this was at a theme park where, you know, part of the spiel that I used to give every night was if you don't eat, drink, or touch anything, nothing will eat, drink, or touch you. I'm so witty. But the big thing was nothing's going to touch you, nothing's going to hurt you, nothing like stuff's going to jump out at you, people are going to yell at you. There's going to be a giant crocodile come out of the side of the water park for some reason on the nights that it works.
That was a swamp, thanks.
I know, I'm well aware of the swamp. I lived there for 3 weekends. And, but nothing's going to hurt you. And, like, the set might fall on you, too. I did that one. Knocked over a set, almost hit a kid. But you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
No one's going to touch you, at least intentionally. Anyways, that's tangent.
And immediately, my mind goes to, how can we remove those barriers?
Right.
How can we make it seem like you are actually going to die?
The only other haunted house that I've ever been through, like in my adult years, it was a haunted hayride. I can't remember where it was, in like Canton. It was somewhere in like Farm, Connecticut. Canton's not farms.
Are you thinking Legends of Fear?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was like 12 years ago.
Okay.
I don't think you would have traveled that far.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But it was raining all night. The tractors kept getting stuck.
Yeah.
We were in line for like 7 hours. It was awful. But it got to the point where it turned into a battle of will. It's like, no, God damn it. I'm going to go through this hayride. And then we ended up going through, and all the haunters were drunk. They were just hammered. And like the tractor would pull up and they'd stop. Haunters would come out, and the tractor would move to the next haunt part. But the thing that kind of took me off guard was the fact that the haunters were touching people on the hayride. I'm like, you're not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to touch me. Because all I'd ever done was theme park haunted house, where it's explicitly, they will not touch you. And I remember that I'm not at a theme park. These are people like who are just bored and drunk.
Which is not a good environment.
No, that combination.
It wasn't the best experience. I'm not gonna lie.
Not professional.
Completely soaked through, and
it's a different kind of fear.
It was fear of like of never seeing my bed again. Like I just want to sleep.
It's like when you go to a carny, like a carnival, and you see like one of the carny ride guys like pick up a random bolt off the ground and just put it in his pocket and just think that everything's fine.
That's fine. It's only the third one this week. But so that's my experience in haunted houses. So to see the videos and the movie, like there was a movie that we actually did a little bit of research, and there's a movie currently on Netflix called
what was it? I don't have it up right now.
Haunter,
the
art of the Haunters, the Art of the Scare.
That one, and it focuses predominantly on the extreme houses.
Which, they're trying to go for a whole thing, and then suddenly they just switch, and that one haunt takes over the majority of the movie. Yeah.
Like, I like the driveway guy, and then you threw a lot of McCamey Manor in there.
Yes,
and there was like at least half of McCamey Manor was this documentary.
Okay, I'm trying for something here. Okay, so stick with me.
Okay,
I want to build. Because McCamey Manor, I think, is the
That's
most
like the
extreme. That's the peak. We will get to it.
We'll get there.
So, like, they covered the driveway guy, I forget his name already, and, like, a few other opinions from other haunts that, like, might not have been open or running or, like, have cameras in at the time. And there are people, like, building serious displays and building serious props and, like, making masks and everything and doing the real job. Then you get to the guy who, like, is a home haunter. And
at his mom's house.
Yeah. And like, it's, one of the guys says like, when you come up with the business, you start somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like, it's not uncommon to run a home haunt and then level up to something else, have your evolutions.
And so there's a very large, very professional, I'd say one of the top 3 haunts in Connecticut that started as a home haunt, moved to a professional level. And then this person, 20 years after they ended their home haunt, got up in front of a stage of people and just went, "You goddamn extreme haunters are going to ruin this for everybody," and walked off stage.
Huh.
It is a divisive.
Oh, you told me about who that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a very, it's an opinion that varies.
Oh man, he did it. I think that the most unbelievable part of these home haunts is the fact that their neighbors don't
are okay
call
with
the cops on them
Well,
constantly.
They do sometimes.
Like, how do you, like, when I saw that, it was like, oh yeah, it's just my backyard. You walk
Mhm.
past my kitchen window.
Mhm.
What?
There's
Like-
but there's plenty of those in Connecticut. I did one for UNICEF in our garage where we had, I'd never done a professional haunt before. I'd just been to them. And I was like, okay, we'll take some rope, hang it up. We'll put some black cloth over it.
Mhm.
We'll staple it so that it like kind of pulls like a shower curtain so we can use the garage. And there's a corner with some cardboard boxes painted like bricks. And there's a person behind it who kicks the cardboard boxes. So now there's cardboard boxes flying out at you.
Rah.
And they stack them up after each time.
I was gonna say, if you send the
Every
next
si-
group in too quick, they're
Oh.
like stacking the boxes.
yeah.
Wait
Oh,
a
yeah.
second.
Wait, hold on.
I'm moving these very heavy boxes. I mean bricks.
There
They're
was
bricks.
But-
one scene in the haunted house that I did where it was mad scientist. In the next room, it was crazy animal man.
Yeah.
And the animal man would break out of the prison that he was in and he'd chase the people.
Yeah.
But if you send the groups through too quickly, like, animal man's like still moseying back to his cell. So it's just like, rah, like shuts himself back in.
Closes they watch you close the door so you can open it again.
Anyways, continue, Kyle.
But like, okay, so with the home haunts, right?
Mhm.
One of the classic gags, you would have the bowl full of peeled grapes.
Mhm.
That came from sleepovers and horror movies and stuff. And then you're doing it at these home haunts, and you'd have this thing. And then professional haunts saw that, and they're looking for the new gimmick.
Mhm.
And so now they're doing stuff like that, and they're having cockroach eating contests.
Yuck.
They're jumping, they're doing stuff that maybe like a home haunt can completely get away with, because it's just, it's friends, it's family, it's the neighbors, it's whatever, who really cares. And all of a sudden, when the professional guys need to up their game, they're looking back there and they're going, can we get this by our insurance? Okay, do it right now. If at the moment we get the okay, we need to one up the competition.
So if it's my home haunt and I'm some teenager
Mhm.
and it's my mom's garage and like the neighbors come through and like, oh, there's Bobby who never returned my Xbox game. So I'm going to grab him and shove him into the closet because we're actually good friends and we know each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be a laugh.
Well, there's a reason you got the extra special treatment, even though you'd gotten the green glow stick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a certain level of that, but when you're working with the general public,
Mhm.
it is a different game.
You don't have those friends now.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like wanting to do the same thing, but not out of familiarity.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we jump up and we're going to start getting into the crazier stuff here.
Mhm.
One that I don't think you guys have mentioned yet, Blackout. Before I get to Blackout proper,
Mhm.
The guys from Blackout did an escape room. And that's one of the other things that a lot of so-called, to make it extreme,
Mhm.
is this idea of the escape rooms.
Okay.
So if you've never been to an escape room, you get locked in and you have to figure your way out.
Mhm.
And this one is, if you don't get out, you're getting murdered. If the purge is going to happen in 1 hour, you've been kidnapped, he's going to kill you. And it was, I'm going to use a new term here, an immersive haunt.
Mhm.
So there's extreme haunts, there's immersive haunts, and then there's this other mess, which is what we'll call McCamey Manor.
Okay.
So immersive is the idea of a theatrical experience.
Mhm.
And it's so in this escape room, there's an actress in there who believes that she has been, legitimately captured, and she is crying and screaming, and there are tears running down her face, and she is actually tied up, and you have to untie her. And that puts you into a space that you're maybe the average person isn't ready to be in.
You got to use chains, so you can't untie them, though. Sorry, I went to a different place. So, way back on 290,
Mhm.
we had Bobby and Dave
Mhm.
from Evidence of Evil.
Yes.
And that year, they were running an escape room.
Yes.
At and what was
A
that?
very good
Crystal
one.
Bees.
Yeah.
We never made it because I was doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
But like every 10 minutes, I think they were doing a group through.
Yeah,
And-
something like that. Very, very quick.
And like what made it fun was like their person in the room who was the victim.
Mhm.
Like if you were doing too good, they would like
They
throw
would
you
miss,
off
yeah.
and like
It's messed up.
throw you some mistakes to slow you down.
To this day.
Yeah.
So they no longer do the escape room.
Yeah, they say they want to do something new all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a portion last year. There was a portion of their haunt that was an escape. That if you didn't get through it in time, but it was sort of like, okay, pause in the haunt. Now we do the escape.
Okay.
When we went through the escape room proper, not the haunt, but the escape room proper, I swear that this person messed with us so that we would fail specifically. And it was at the very end, there was a flashlight. There was a UV flashlight to read something in black light. And I swear they switched out one of the batteries. I swear it. And they will not tell me that they did it. But to this day, I hold that they did.
Oh, that's too bad.
So with the Purge escape room, with all this stuff, half the battle, and even with a normal haunted house, half the battle is getting people scared before they go in. And it's in this day and age, it's social media hype. You know, if you're terrified standing in line, then half the battle's done. You know, all you have to do is get them in there, and it's done. So some of these, many of these, most of these, the bark is worse than the bite.
Yeah. So while we were filling out our waivers for Kyle's,
Yes.
it's me, like, I've been through it when it was regular haunt night. And then, like, there's all these checkboxes, like, do you have a heart condition? Are you pregnant? Are you this? Like, are you suffering from this? Like, all these questions. And, like, my friends there are going, does all this actually matter? Like, do you have any recent injuries? Have you had any recent surgeries? Stuff like that. Like,
But it's psyching you out.
Yeah.
So, like, you're filling it out going, am I going to be okay? Like, do I need to be in peak physical condition for this? And so from that point, like, just filling out your waiver is messing with some people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We actually got into a huge online argument, debate, something like that, over one of the questions, because we'd actually posted them publicly. When you buy your ticket to this online, you have to read through all this. And somebody called us out for nursing mothers couldn't come through. Of all the things, nursing mothers. And we had a legitimate reason. When you're a nursing mother, if you are afraid or nervous or something like that,
will your adrenaline get into your milk?
Cortisol levels. That's literally the
What's that? Is that anti-inflammatory?
No, it's an inflammatory.
It is an inflammatory.
Okay. No, not in. It's a inflammatory.
Okay.
What's the opposite of inflammatory? It's an inflammation causing chemical.
Okay.
If there's too much, theoretically, studies have shown if there's too much cortisol in the mother's milk, the child can develop nervous anxiety issues. So we're just and so we actually have the science to back this up, and we are coming at them hard, and they're just like, you're anti-nursing mother, you don't like kids, blah blah, and like, no, we threw down the gauntlet, and they were like, how crazy is this?
We're protecting you with this.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we said, and so like even just that, people, when we were done having the argument, people kept commenting like, how crazy is this that we're worried about the kids that aren't even going through it.
Well, you wouldn't see, I can imagine someone not really getting it and like expecting a mother to be walking through while nursing her kid. Get so scared she just drops their child.
It's like, have you taken a breath in the last 5 hours? Fuck, I have. Why does that matter?
Well, when you get up to some of the other ones, and we'll talk about it, their waivers get crazy. You have to actually do things. You have to go to
psych
evaluations and stuff like that. But the haunt that you went through, the one that we put on, it's a combination. So haunted houses started doing, and a lot of them do it these days, the lights out haunt.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's just no lighting. You maybe give them a flashlight or the glow stick like we did. So you're using this glow stick like a lantern. And then the big one, the big industry question came when haunted houses started doing touch haunts. And one of the best ones I've ever gone to is called Haunted Hoochie.
It's a weird name.
Okay.
And so so there's a division, I guess, between violence, sex and violence, and Haunted Hoochie is like, no, we're going to do both. We're here to push buttons.
Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah. And when I went through, it was fantastic. We got touched. We got spit on.
Gross.
It was, nothing in the face. They'll spit on your arms, your legs, stuff like that.
Still gross.
And there was one scene, which is like a satanic awakening in a graveyard. So there's like a satanic priest.
Yeah.
And when he comes out to the pulpit, he throws his arms up, and this huge fire shoots up, and there's these ladies wandering around the graveyard, and they all fall to their knees and throw their hands up like they're worshiping him.
Mm-hmm.
And this one girl was just a little bit too close to me. When she threw her hands up, she got a handful of little Kyle.
Maybe you were too close.
Okay.
Were you standing in the right area?
Where am I supposed to
Were
stand?
you in the proper worshipping the satanic barrier?
If she'd put down some salt, I would have had a better idea.
Where was the pentagram here? Was it?
It was on the priest. So for that one moment, it threw her out because she did the right thing. She checked on me to make sure I was okay.
Okay.
It wasn't something she'd meant to do.
Yeah.
She checked on me, made sure I was okay, and then went, "You fucking liked it." And turned it right back. And so this moment, okay, yes, I'm okay, thank you. And then I'm even further invested.
It's a professional.
That's a professional. That haunted house. So we're gonna start talking about inappropriate behavior, right?
Okay.
That haunted house got taken to task this past year, the year before, I think, for swastika night. And the mood changes. They have a whole thing about freedom of speech. They have a whole thing about giving the symbol power. They have a whole spiel about it, but it doesn't matter because it was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. They'd been doing this for over a decade. Mm-hmm. To back up for a moment, when you're in line for this, when you're in line for Haunted Hoochie, there are go-go dancers up in cages.
Okay.
And they're lit, red, green, whatever. And right next to them is conspiracy theory footage playing.
Okay.
So there was a moment where we're standing in line to go into a haunted house, and there are go-go dancers, and there is haunted house music, and there is 9/11 footage of the planes going into the towers. And that kind of gives you a hint, like, either I need to, put my big pants on or get out.
It's a nothing safe as moment.
It's a nothing is safe.
Nut up or shut up, if you will.
Nut up or shut up. And it was, it's one of the best haunts I've been to. But there's things that you're not going to be okay with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of our, in order to do this, there are things that people have to not be okay with, because that's what is scary in an extreme haunt.
Okay.
Again, I fully disagree with Swastika Night.
Right.
They've shut it down. They saw the error of their ways. I get the point they were trying to make, but no.
There are better ways to make that point.
Yes. So, yeah. Huh.
So swastikas.
I'm not sure which I would watch. Like, do I want to watch the Go-Go Girls or do I want to watch the footage?
I want to watch
you
Jesse
said
Ventura.
Dancers. I'm assuming they're girls. Were there Go-Go Dancer dudes there too?
Not when I was there.
Okay.
I don't know.
We weren't there every night, so who knows?
With the stuff that's like not okay, you can also call. Do you guys know about hell haunts?
Negative.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the church ones?
The church ones.
Yeah.
So I would consider those extreme haunts, because they're doing things any normal person would not. If you've watched American Horror Story, the Cult, American Horror Story Cult?
Is that like I got to the one with the clowns and kind of stopped there.
Okay, so it's after that.
Okay,
I know I don't know how many it's after that, but there is a depiction of a hell haunt in there that's pretty accurate, except that they actually kill people. in the ones that, this is mostly a Midwest and Southern thing in the United States.
Yeah.
They depict
just killing people.
Well, yeah.
So the Hell House thing is like a church youth group will put it on, and they'll go about it in a really like detached from reality manner.
Yes.
So like you go in one room, and one room's like, I had premarital sex, and now I've got AIDS, and I'm gonna die. And everyone's like, ooh. And you go into the next room, and the person's like lying on a hospital bed, and they're like, and this is where I die of AIDS. And and everyone's
Because
like,
they lost Jesus.
oh no, and like someone's supposed to be their Satan, whatever, and tell them why they're going to hell. What you might like, there is at some point they put on a celebrity one. So like you've got Penn Jillette as Satan, like wearing the hooves and like yelling at people.
I would pay ridiculous money to see that.
and Seth? No, one of the guys we don't like.
There's a lot of people I don't
One
like.
of the Bill Maher.
Mm.
Bill Maher did one too. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't care as much about that one.
You just kind of like gave the light version. Like, yeah, there's light versions of the Hell Hunt.
that's when I heard on NPR did a show about it.
But imagine you go in to be scared. You go into a haunted house. We all have an idea.
There's a simulated rape scene.
There's simulated
in
rape
in a church youth group haunted house.
There's simulated gay rape. There's simulated there's simulated abortions covered in blood while actual abortion footage is shown on the wall.
Yep.
And so the first part
It's like
of the
Scared Straight.
it is
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
scared straight
Yeah.
for Jesus.
Read your Bible.
Read your Bible.
And what might not be a surprise for people that work in the haunt industry, at the end of the season they have a party and give out awards. And like it was on this NPR like interview show thing, and like one of the girls won for like best performer, but she was one of the victims. And she's just talking about like she's like, I made so many new friends, and like everyone starts laughing and she's like, oh, that's not what I mean. It was bizarre.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's even that's like like Kyle said, to normal people, it's uncomfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not scary. It's just like what the.
Where's
fuck?
the ghosts? Where's Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, give me some zombies and skeletons.
And they sort of divide it up where the first part of the haunted house is stuff that will send you to hell, and the second part is the depiction of hell. That's the Hell Haunt.
Oh, and when you the exit, there's like priests there, and you can go pray with them.
Yes,
Of course.
Yeah,
yeah. And they always have signups.
to join.
Get on the mailing list.
join.
Get on join.
Mm.
But so a friend of mine down on Long Island
Mhm.
runs extreme, and he prefers the term immersive theater. It's a company called Shock Theater,
Mhm.
and they've gone through a couple names, but they had one that got them in trouble with the religious groups, where to enter the haunt you had to sign your soul away to Satan. They had a gentleman dressed as Lucifer with the horns and everything, and you had to sign a contract. And one of the people who went through the haunt sued them for his soul back. If you believe that actually happened. So this person who runs Shock Theater is a marketing genius or madman.
A little bit
Okay,
of both.
so wait, okay, I'm gonna be the dumb guy for a second.
Yeah.
Just a sec. So what you're saying is
Yes.
that there's a chance the concept of a person suing the company for their soul back
Yes.
was manufactured fiction
Was a work.
There's a possibility.
to make hype.
Correct.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you said if you believe that. I was like, if you believe that you sold your
Oh,
soul.
no. If you believe whether or not somebody actually did it,
Okay.
or whether it was a marketing
Right.
ploy.
Yeah.
Recently, they got in a lot of trouble.
So I just want to ask, like, well, did they give it back to him or did they keep it?
I believe it was an out-of-court settlement.
You get to go through again and like double mortgage your soul.
When you settle for a soul, is it more like an out of body settlement? I tried.
It's,
It's
Are we going by Simpsons rules?
yes.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Because Bart sold his soul to Millhouse, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Alex would just like dive at that dotted line.
Get it out of here.
Like I remember
I'm sick of it.
I remember at the Goblin Market, like you would talk about how like you can barter in like years of your life.
Yeah.
And you were like, it's great.
I lost 5 minutes like 3 years ago. So yeah.
So they got in trouble again.
Okay.
This time with, I believe it was a senator, calling them out. Where they so his recent, I'm going to say, works of art, because these things, they sort of elevate the haunt genre. It's no longer just, clowns and chainsaws and this kind of stuff.
Right.
They are themed, they are written, there are stories. It is a truly immersive experience. It's kind of similar to, in some depends on which event you go to, but the Sleep No More.
Yep.
So you are in this environment, it exists.
The theater's happening around me.
The theater's happening around you.
The actors are walking past me.
You make choices, you
I am
change
like
the
a
outcomes.
ghost to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he's been going very political with it. He did one where it was feminazis, and you were being indoctrinated into... so only men were allowed to attend. There were no women allowed to participate, and the actors were only female.
Okay.
So I've been trying to work with him for some time. It hasn't come through yet, but one of his bad ideas was to do what's the slave ship from Connecticut?
Oh, yeah, I don't know my history that well.
Yeah.
There's a museum about it here somewhere.
The Amistad. He wanted
I
to
was
do...
thinking Amistad. I was like, no, that was a book. That was the name of a guy,
It was a
wasn't
movie,
it?
too.
Just, we're brainstorming stuff, and he goes, well, what's Connecticut specific? Oh, we should do an Amistad haunt. All the actors are African American.
No, you should not do that.
And only Caucasians are allowed to go through.
You should not do that.
That's a bad idea.
That's a bad... I said no. So that's part of the reason I haven't worked with him, is because I'm the limits of what's okay for me to put on. The haunt you went through was fine.
Yeah.
We pretended to shave people's eyebrows.
Yeah.
We there was nothing, it was at the edge. It didn't cross any lines. He crosses lines, and the line he just crossed was to make posters for a new show he's putting on that say death camps for Trump supporters. And he flyered Long Island with these posters.
I'm okay with those posters.
Death camps, you want to kill people who support a political candidate.
All right, we're not gonna.
Yeah,
we don't have to get into this right now.
Opinions have varied again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm on board with any of it. Like, you lost me at feminazi. Like it just seems.
Wait. So in a
tone
moment,
deaf.
I'll get to the shows that I've attended of his. But it turns out one of these flyers ended up on an apartment building where a senator's staffer was living, and so they somehow made the jump and said that this was against the staffer, against the senator, because he supports Trump. Because
Yeah, I follow.
Okay. So they got into a lot of trouble, had to go on the news, had to print retractions, used quite a number of fake names to sort of avoid, I'm not going to say avoid responsibility, but this is an art, and you're kind of playing a dangerous game with it.
Okay.
I've attended 2 of his shows. One was a baby McCamey Manor.
Okay.
It actually had videos that were recorded by Russ McCamey, the guy who runs it.
Okay.
The other one was a kind of a Stranger Things themed haunt. But if you know the history of Stranger Things, it's actually from the Montauk experiments, which happened on Montauk, Long Island.
Right.
And so this was, I believe it was called Project Montauk. During either of these haunts, I honestly, I can't separate them in my head. So I'm just going to say things happened during some of them.
They were scary.
They were scary. Yeah. I waterboarded Noah at one point.
Yeah.
And
when they're together, they both smile about this. Noah's like, yeah, Kyle waterboarded
Sounds
me.
like a real bonding experience.
I have a picture. This is us coming out after having waterboarded.
Looks like you were at a Guar concert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Looks like a Guar
You're
concert,
so
right?
happy about
We're
the
so
torture.
happy. Yeah.
See,
I was torturing him. He was torturing me.
Since you've mentioned that, and it's on the episode now, I'll have to get your permission if we could post it with our episode.
The picture?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Noah will love that. So we waterboarded each other. I drank green fluid out of a syringe that was
Probably fine.
Pretended to be a penis that was squirted into my mouth, at like it was held up against a
Guar concert.
Okay. From a mostly naked man.
Okay.
With a swastika on his chest, who was a I guess a gay, I don't know what, a gay Nazi. I think that was what he was supposed to be.
A Gotzi.
Gotzi.
Okay.
Creature of myth.
We we had our heads held underwater. We were pushed into large tanks of food coloring, water, goo, crap stuff. But all these things that I'm saying are kind of like, that was fun. It was like a water park. the things about it that I can't explain in an audio medium are like the acting and the environment and the way these things make you feel. And that's sort of really the difference between the immersive haunt and the extreme haunt. The extreme haunt is just, we're going to mess with you, we're going to put you, we're going to do the worst things we can imagine. The immersive is this idea that we can affect your emotions, that you're breathing the same air as these actors who are putting you in a place that you maybe weren't ready for. And, you know, just like, okay, you know, you see a really sad movie and you cry. This, you get an emotion that you can't get anywhere else. And that's, I will say, the reason that some people do these.
Okay.
Is that it is something different. It is not anything you can do or feel anywhere else. Which brings me to Blackout.
Okay.
Do you want me to go into the write-up I did of it?
Yeah.
You may talk about that? Okay, so...
We're at about 46 minutes.
This might be a long one.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Yeah, I'm good. So we did Blackout in 2012, 2013, something like that. I'm going to try and get back down there this year. I said, after I came out of it, I said, I'm not going to do it for at least a while. Similar to the way that you did ours, we had a varying group. We had people who were down for this. We had people who were like, I don't know. And then my sister came along, because we had a cancellation, and I was just like, hey, come to this thing, wear clothes that can get destroyed. And I didn't really tell her much else.
Wow.
And
you still talk?
We do. Yep. Her reaction afterwards was just, what the hell, Kyle? She didn't get it. She didn't understand it. I know, she didn't. Part of Blackout is that the real threat is that you're going to get kicked out early. There's the entire time they say over and over, if you do this, if you don't do that, the experience will end, and that is it. You will be shown the door. So there was stuff, physically, the stuff that kind of messes with you is the stuff like, you enter a room and there's a naked guy.
Right.
Head to toe naked, except for a trash bag that is duct taped around his head with one eye hole and a mouth hole.
Okay.
And he comes over and he starts licking your shoes. Like, actually licking your shoes. And then he comes over, and the only light in this room, by the way, is from a small space heater, like that red glow.
Okay.
And probably because he's naked, you want to stay cool for everybody. And he reaches over, and behind the space heater is a little wind-up music box. And he pulls this up, and he winds it up, and he starts playing it, and he holds it against your ear. And he embraces you, and he starts hugging you. And I mean, everything is touching you. And he starts, dancing with you. And then all of a sudden he pushes you. And there's a 2x4 that's bolted into the ground.
Right.
And you fall onto a mattress in the other room.
Yeah.
At which point somebody starts messing with you with their bare feet on your face. And I could just, because I'm the kind of person that I am, I could just see the slight hint of green that they were wearing night vision goggles, because you are in pitch black. You do not know what is coming. You cannot see anything. They spend a lot of money. I mean, night vision goggles are not cheap.
No.
There's another room you enter that, there's a girl. There's a lot of nudity in here, by the way. BT dubs, if we hadn't gotten that already. There's a girl wearing only a trench coat, and she turns around and she pulls a condom out of herself.
Right.
In that area.
I remember that part. Yeah.
Yep. And she tips her head back, empties the condom into her mouth, spits it in your face, at which point somebody from behind you throws a plastic bag over your face. So now you've got wet, the plastic bag. She jumps down, starts biting you on the cheek through the bag.
Huh.
That's something no, I don't care what you've been through in life. Unless you've been to one of these things, you're not ready for it. And that's putting you in a place. And if you say anything at any time, they kick you out. If you say anything, you yell, you can yell, scream, whatever. But if you say, oh, fuck you, if you say stop, if you say whatever, you are immediately escorted out.
I think my first word would be what?
Why?
The scariest part of this was when you're standing in line. And, you know, this... If you haven't heard of blackout, just look it up. Just stop what you're doing and then, you know, come back to this podcast after a moment. But stop what you're doing, just look it up, and you will realize the kind of social sort of the stigma around this thing. There's people saying this is insane, this is crazy, don't do this, we have to shut this down. So now that you've accepted it and you've signed all these waivers, we're talking waivers that you have to read out loud on camera for this one. We're talking signed waivers, and we're talking verbal confirmation from 3 different people that you accept the risks of doing this thing. They also go a step further, and to enter, you have to fill out an online questionnaire, including like, you know, what's your greatest fear?
Right.
When was the last time you had a panic attack? Not have you ever had a panic attack? When's the last time? Stuff like this. And for certain people, they'll pick out, and you have to do an extra questionnaire. And they won't, you know, just randomly, I guess, pick out people. But you're standing in line waiting for this to start. You've entered a plastic tarp like you were going into a meat locker. And they tell you that as soon as you walk through there, the haunt has started. No speaking. And so you're on a line with people, and there's a gentleman sitting on a couch with a lamp next to him, facing away from you. The couch is facing 3 doors. So it's you in a line, the couch, this guy sitting there, and then 3 doors. And the 3 doors have 1 white dot on each. Otherwise, everything else in the room besides the couch is black. And this man is the most terrifying person you can imagine. Not because he's not huge, he's not a big person. He owns the space. It's as a theater person, I really appreciated this. And I got in trouble. I got in trouble with this man because we had gone in as a group, and so they put numbers on our chest, big stickers with numbers, and I'd gotten in like 5 minutes late or something like that because I was running from the other side of New York. And
there was like a chalk mark or something.
No, it's a big white sticker. Like, you know how you can print out stickers on your printer? Yeah. It was like that, like 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with a sticker number with a big number written on it in Sharpie. Okay. And I went up and I realized the people in my group had this and I didn't. So I went back to the front counter and said, hey, can I have a number? And that upset this man. And he put me in the corner. And he said, you know, did I fucking give you that number? Who the fuck gave you that number? Why do you think it's okay that you have that number that I didn't give to you? And it builds and it builds and it builds. And he put me in the corner. He said, if you look, if you move, if you do anything I don't say, if you do anything that I didn't tell you to do, you're not coming in. And that's this terrifying, like, what? But what's in there? I want to see. Like, he's taken this thing that you didn't realize you wanted and turned it against you.
But I want it.
I want it. And there's another moment at the very end where you've been handed a hammer and you've been thrown into this sort of bathroom kind of room, and there's a naked woman on the ground who's bleeding from the mouth. It's the only blood in the entire place, bleeding from the mouth. And she starts accusing you of having done that to her with the hammer. And again, I cannot express over a microphone the kind of place that puts you in. And you think, oh yeah, that's fine, I'm just watching this show. But now she's touching you and she's grabbing it and she's begging you not to do it again. And then she starts shoving you, and then she starts pushing you, and then she grabs the hammer from you, and then she shoves you out the door you came in, and you just left it wet from head to toe, smelly, covered in stuff, having gone through this thing, and there's a line of people waiting to get in who can't say anything, who are now looking at you. And it's this moment of like, what in the world just happened? Yeah.
Because not only does that terrify you, but it's going to terrify the next group.
Right.
It's already started for them.
Right. And the guys who put this on, they did the Purge Purge escape room that I talked about earlier. I met one of them at a convention. Very nice guy. We talked about theater because they're theater guys. But they did a documentary. Yeah. Which you guys watched part of?
I tried watching the whole thing, and then I put some on for JR to be like, this is another one. Because we watched a different one separately. Then I was like, I know this is the one that Kyle was talking about, and so I want to, and you recommended it, but like, I felt it wasn't good documentary. Because like, well, the time of year that we're at, I don't got a lot of time to waste, dude.
Right.
Like, if I had, a week off, maybe, in like 2 hours, I could just do nothing with. Maybe I'd sit down and sit through it, but like, there's a lot of dead air. And like, I don't need to build this much scenery. Like, oh, we're on a subway now, or now we're looking in the city. We're hearing some talking, some exposition.
So your complaint is the filler.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, we're watching this one guy talk about how he was going to feel, but like, he's not using words that are really describing it, and he's just kind of jabbering. Then we see him do it, and like, yep, that looks weird. But like, whatever they were trying to do wasn't getting across, like, what the experience is like. Like, give me some other people. Give me someone who can describe it better. Oh, now we're not going to let you in. Now we're not going to do an interview. Now we're not going to say what it's about. But this one guy is convinced he knows what he's going to get when he goes through it, and he's going to come out a better person for it now. It's like, I'm wasting my time with this.
So, okay, so there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack.
I get that the experience was different, and like, what you described to me was different from what I saw in this documentary.
Right. We went with a group of, I think, 8 people. The experience was almost completely different from person to person. Not just the order, but there was a part where, and this didn't happen to me, some of my friends we were with had an exorcism, and they got, the man suffocated them. He put the hand over the nose and mouth. Yeah. And he said, tap your right hand if you can't breathe. Yeah. Tap your left hand if you're ready to leave blackout. And anybody who tapped the right hand that they couldn't breathe, he just kept suffocating them. He just kept suffocating them and suffocating them.
Like, he didn't ask if, tap it if you want me to stop. It's just, I want to know if you can't breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And then it wasn't until you tapped the left hand to say, I want to leave the haunted house. Because again, they're using that against you. In the documentary you watched, it's not meant to ever show you what happens in that haunted house. And that's why I think you didn't like it. Because it is meant to put you kind of in the mindset of understanding, especially if you've gone through it. So there's a gentleman, the main person that they focus on in there. Spoiler alert, am I allowed to? Should I? Yeah. Okay. Spoiler alert. Here we go. Yeah. At the very end, they tell him, you can never come back to blackout. He goes through the entire thing. He goes through the regular shows, the off-season shows, and then the special shows. So there's almost like 3 tiers. And the special show, they come to his apartment.
Yeah, I saw that part.
And
they're like got him pinned in his shower with the shower running on him and saying shit to him. Then like they like lead him to his bedroom, and there's like 7 dudes in all black in his bedroom just waiting.
And that's the thing that messes with him the most out of everything that they did to him, including possibly having made him, did you see the part with the gun? Yeah. They possibly made him kill somebody.
Well, it clicked, but it didn't go bang.
Correct. But he didn't know, like how many people have held a real gun, like, cause that was a real gun at somebody ever, loaded or unloaded.
They have like a begging person on the ground,
Right.
and then they hand this dude a gun, and they tell him he has to shoot them, and like the person's screaming don't, and the guy is screaming tell him to do it, and like he's just there whimpering the entire time.
Yep.
And it sounds so surface. It sounds so like, oh, I know this is a haunted house, you know, blah, blah, whatever. I'm watching this scene happen. But think about for a moment actually having it's a heavy metal gun in your hand.
All I got is going to that joke of like getting locked in a room like with your ex-wife or whatever, and being like, I'll give you $20,000 if you kill her with this gun. And you come out going, hey, I never fired, so I had to just whip her until... I just beat her with it until she stopped moving. Like it's a messed up joke.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one.
But
yeah,
but like, good thing there's a person there with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, like it's like it's not loaded, dude. I get it.
There is the old urban legend of there's a dead body in the haunted house, or there's a real killer.
Yeah.
Actually killing people. There's sort of a new urban legend among extreme haunts, and I've heard it described as blackout. I don't think it actually was. I've heard it described as coming from my friend's haunt. I don't think it was. I heard it coming from a haunt that was up in Niagara. I don't think it was from there either. But this new one, actually, when I came in here, you guys were watching the scene where the guy was fisting a chicken.
Yeah. It was like a trigger from the grocery store or whatever.
Jared, do you have?
He was giving it to it.
He was giving it to the
Yep.
So the way I heard this, the way it was told to me, is that there was a room where there was a girl who was you enter and she's naked and she's fisting a can of tuna. That is stuck between her legs, and then she smears it on one guy's face. And then makes the other guy, and you had to do this as pairs, and makes the other guy lick it off. And then she goes, oh, you think that was bad? Pulls out a giant black dildo, sticks it to the wall, covers it in tuna, and says, okay, now you got to clean that off with your tongue.
See, is that scary or just fucked?
That's the thing, is it's taking you out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Like, what if you don't do that?
It's just gross.
And a lot of it is gross.
Is the dildo haunted? Like
so the urban legend is that the dildo was not cleaned between guests, and the guy ended up with an STD. And that's sort of the urban legend of these haunted houses. Is like, what could you actually, like? We know they're not going to kill you. We know that. What could they actually do? What actually could happen to you?
Has this dildo been properly disinfected?
Right.
Like, that's like that's like OSHA violations.
The friends that you were talking about earlier who did the escape room, before you went in, they put a bag over everybody's head. Every single person had this bag over their head. How many people had it on their head before you?
Did they disinfect the bag?
They do. They 100% do.
They're professionals.
Good for them.
But a friend of mine who came with me would not go through until they showed him actually disinfecting it. That messed with him. That really messed with, like, that, just that bit of not having a clean bag over your head. So these haunted houses aren't just about blood and gore and spooky stuff. They get into this level of, like, extreme discomfort. You know, someone biting my cheek isn't necessarily scary. It's not comfortable.
Kyle's blackout, they made him take his shoes off. And then at one point he walks into a room and it's just full of shoes. And he was like, am I supposed to look for my shoes?
So that wasn't me. That was the year before me.
Okay.
That they did that. And there was a naked man in there.
Yeah.
So you're looking forward to the shoe room, and there's no shoe room.
It's like when you
Where's
get
the
out.
shoe room?
When you get out, do you have your shoes or not? Am I walking down the street barefoot? This is important to me.
It's like walking through, like, hey, when do you guys take my shoes?
Well, in the documentary you watched, they put people out on the street
wearing their pants on
with trash bags and no clothes on.
Yeah.
So McCamey Manor is in a class all its own.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I'm glad you told me about the two things, because I got to see kind of the evolution of him being in California and having actually look like a haunted house. then having kind of actors at the haunted house.
Yes.
Still doing the same stuff. And then like the other episode, it's like it's years later now. And like it's just him on his land with his trailer.
So you're talking about The Art of the Scare versus
Dark Tourist?
Dark Tourist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the man's name is Russ McCamey.
Mm-hmm.
I've met him on a number of occasions.
Okay.
I've hung out with him a little bit. There's a picture of me and a group of people smiling. And I used to say, I want to do this. I want to do McCamey Manor.
Okay.
For a long time, kind of back when he was in the California.
Mm-hmm.
He started out as a home haunter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'd call him professional. I don't know.
I wouldn't.
He started out neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
And then it got more and more and more. And then he stopped using safe words. And
He also stopped hiring neighborhood kids.
He at one point hired Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine vets.
See, like, the work that I do,
Mhm.
in total, we have at least 20 hours of training.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, what I'm seeing in this documentary, like, I don't know if it's the whole thing, but I'm seeing him, like, casually hanging out in his front lawn saying, "Oh yeah, you can shove their head in the toilet. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could mess with them.
Yeah.
Like pick up this thing and like spit at them or whatever." And like that's your training. Like this isn't training. Like you're not establishing what's good and what's terrible.
Right.
Is everything just like you're trusting these people?
Right.
Holy shit.
There are people who almost everybody who's gone through has left with bruises, has left with small cuts. I believe there's 1 or 2 heart attacks that have happened during it.
He seemed real proud about his heart attack.
He seemed real proud about the heart attacks.
Oh, there's one where like I think at least 2 people passed out.
Oh, if you pass out, it doesn't mean it stops. It absolutely. If you vomit,
Just wait for him to wake up.
if you throw up, he feeds you your vomit.
Well, that's what dogs do. So
Okay.
Why did you do that? You say these things.
So the moment I said, "Oh no, I'm not going to do this," before either of these documentaries came out, I was at Transworld, the big Halloween haunt trade show, and I was saying hi to him. He comes by every year. He videotapes the whole thing. We'd sold him a couple of items to use, and I asked him, hey, how's the new show going? And he shows me this list, and he goes, "Oh, the new show is a competition. 2 people enter, and you're doing things to each other, and it's a list of like 50 things, and you get to mark off 10 things that will never happen to you on this list." And the list is the most insane thing I have ever seen, and it needs to be seen by the police. I will just straight up say that, because the list starts out with like pull out a tooth.
It
Like,
starts
with pull out a tooth.
Escalated quickly.
There's no escalation ever. There's no item on that list that is any less bad. One is get pulled behind a truck by the neck with a chain.
Oh, I was on board until we got to the next part.
No, you're not surfing. You're getting lynched.
Yeah, I could lay down or whatever, but like maybe not just the neck. That's
how fast is that truck going? Are we on pavement? Are we on grassy
we
field?
talking miles or just
Is this an off-road track? Are we talking slaloms?
So I'm imagining like well the speaker goes to 11. It's the loudest.
Now
We'll just make 10 louder. No,
now,
it's 11.
These go to 11.
Now, is that list the same as somebody suing to get their soul back? Is it a MacGuffin?
God damn it.
I don't know. Right now I've put that question, but it's just the fear of that was enough for me to say, forget it.
See, when you say you can cross off 10 things, I'm like, those are the 10 things that are happening to you.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Because you sign your life away. To go to McCamey Manor, for those of you who don't know, haven't seen the documentaries, you get a physician checkup. You have to get an okay from that. You have to get a psychological evaluation. You have to get an okay from a psychiatrist. When I said the whole thing about waiting in line, that like being scared before you go in is enough. only 1 or 2 people go into McCamey Manor at a time.
Yeah.
And the line to get in is 6 hours long. I think you saw that in Dark Tourist where...
Yeah, it's a 4-hour waiver signing.
Yeah. And the entire time, he is psyching you out.
Yeah.
It's
we're not gonna hurt you, but we're gonna hurt you.
right.
He reiterated that, like, it's totally safe. We're not gonna. I mean, you're gonna get hurt, but it's safe.
You won't
yes,
die.
You'll get hurt.
You'll think you're gonna die, but you're not gonna die.
But you might.
People have left with hypothermia because he will put you in an ice chest.
Yeah.
For an hour,
right,
and just come back and check up on you.
According to Wikipedia, no idea how legitimate this is. The tour can last anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, and no guest has made it all the way through. A woman named Sarah P. in 2014, as of 2014, a woman named Sarah P. held the record at time at McCamey Manor, enduring 6 hours.
What was the year on that?
That's a 2014.
When I talked to Russ, it was a Marine who had made it 8 hours.
Right.
So,
and the thing is there even an end, or is he just gonna just keep going until you eventually?
What was her name? Sarah P.
Sarah P.
Is there a Sarah P?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
is there a waiting list of 24,000 people according to Wikipedia?
Right.
All
right.
now, so I don't care how tough you are, how extreme this hunt, if someone's just gonna put me in an icy bathtub for 6 hours, is this really an experience?
I'm just uncomfortable.
So again, with the icy bathtub, I had seen that part. I still wanted to go. I still wanted to go.
You got to do some stuff though,
right?
Because
punch me in the dick while I'm in there.
See, I'm hearing about this, and I'm like, why is sitting in a bathtub for 6 hours an accomplishment? I don't get it.
Because you did it longer than other people.
But it's just nice. It's
a nice bathroom.
But for me, I mean, it wasn't.
It's a really nice. It's nice water. It's real good.
I'm just gonna say this straight. You should not be doing any of these extreme haunts. Not a single one to go up against anybody.
See, that's the only reason I would do it, though. Here's the thing. So young.
Wait. You did mine.
Yeah.
Were you up against anybody?
No.
And did you have a great time?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
So
where's the discrepancy?
Look, McCamey's different though.
It is. I will agree.
So young Alex would definitely be invincible and jump in there and be the best and do whatever he's got to do to be number one because he can last it out.
Mm-hmm.
Current day Alex is missing an organ and has had back surgery and kind of has to look out for himself.
Mm-hmm.
No one lives forever.
And my ankle acts up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta preserve my money makers.
Mm-hmm.
My hands gotta keep doing handy things, and that's I gotta look out for those things now.
And if you went to work the next day with bruises, covered in still red from the fake food coloring,
I can still
hair left.
I can still wash dishes with bruises on.
And you're going, I went to a haunted house.
So today I'd definitely be limping and need a day off. Or something.
Yeah. But up to that point, again, this was younger Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I still wanted to see, not just for not to compete against anybody, but to see what are my limits?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? It's almost like a meditative thing. Do I what becomes of me in this experience?
One thing, go ahead.
Yeah, no.
I was gonna say one thing about I think Alex and I are kind of on the same thing here. Not for me. I don't get it. But there is one thing I dig about McCamey Manor. The fact that how he accepts payment.
Yes, and let's get into that. Because that's a whole thing.
The dog food?
The dog food, but there's more. Explain the dog thing.
He accepts payment in the form of dog food.
Right.
For his dogs, and I believe he also donates it.
Yes. There's a mandatory donation.
Right.
Technically speaking, he does not charge for the haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a mandatory donation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've seen the documentaries, he has quite an operation. And so the question becomes, where does he get his money from?
Because one of them asked, like, because he makes videos the entire time.
Yes.
The entire thing is filmed.
Yes.
While he's in your face, his camera's in your face. There's
Right.
multiple cameras.
And
on you the entire
many
time.
times he'll say it's for insurance purposes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that if something happens, if somebody sues me, I can look back and I can say, here's exactly what was going on at that time.
Because one of the guys says, like, well, do you sell these? And he's like, no, I don't sell them. And he says, is this a fetish thing? And he's like, ha, no, it's not. It's not. This isn't a fetish. I don't get off on this. This is not a fetish.
I'm not trying to demean the man, but in that documentary, when you see his face while he's filming these people, like, it's gross. Like, it made me uncomfortable. Like, not the fact that these people were being tortured and abused, but his face while he was filming them. I was like, oh my God, like, stop smiling.
I agree, but then I also think back to Afraid Not,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, did you guys have fun while?
we had a lot of fun.
See, I could see having fun doing that too.
Because so and Afraid Not, to go back to that for a moment, my job was to freak people out before they entered. I was not, I put this thing on, I put my own money into it, I was the owner, blah blah whatever, but I said there's no way I'm doing this without acting in it. And so I was messing with the audience in the line.
Mm-hmm.
The line wasn't a straight line. I was picking people out at random. So you might be standing there by yourself for 20 minutes. Some people, and then even when you got in, you could be sitting there for 10, 15 minutes.
So Kyle pulled our lady friend out of our line and brings her in first. But, like, they don't always close the door right away. So, like, we're outside. He leads her in through the front door and, like, puts headphones on her so she can't hear anything. And then we just see him shove her and her legs kick out and then the door swings shut. I'm like, oh, there's a chair there. He's just
Messed up.
Just put her in a chair.
Yeah.
But, like, always seeing, like, her legs just, like, break the pain of the... like,
But there's enough fog that most people didn't see that.
Right.
They just see somebody getting shoved.
And he did this whole story. He had this skull. You got to tell the skull your secrets. The skull will take him away. Like, think of the worst thing you've ever done in your life. You got to tell that to Kyle, and they'll put it in the skull for you, and you can let it go. So it's like it's putting you in this mindset. And in the car ride home, we mentioned the skull, and Milta goes, "I couldn't think of anything bad I've done." And Kyle's like, "I know, you're too good."
Yeah.
And then like someone asked me, and I go, "It's in the skull, man."
Yeah. That's between me and the skull.
And the lady friend also was like, "It's in the skull."
Yeah, I have not, to this day, I haven't told anybody a specific thing that was told to me.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I have said is that there were a lot of EMTs that came through, and they had a lot of things that they needed to get off their
Some
chest.
baggage.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
But, okay, back to McCamey.
Yeah.
We don't know where his money comes from. We don't know how he's funding this. But there is one thing.
There was a lot of work going into editing those videos,
Yes.
too.
Yes. There's one thing that he has said that kind of has grown into, is it real, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost, if you've seen Hostel 2,
No.
maybe
I've only
Hostel
seen the
1.
first one.
Okay, so I can't remember if it's 1 or 2, where there are people betting on who's going to win, or how long they're going to last,
Okay.
how they're going to get killed, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he makes his money by live streaming the videos to a private betting room in Las Vegas, where people are betting on everything from how long they'll make it, what thing will take them down, what thing Russ will do to you next. It's that one to me seems like the biggest MacGuffin.
Sounds a little conspiracy theory.
It sounds like conspiracy.
Yeah.
He has said a couple times in the sort of baby McCamey Manor show that I did on Long Island, it was mentioned there. So if it is real, what the hell? If it isn't real, he has really leaned into the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still unknown. You know, where?
I mean, if it is real and people haven't consented to that, if it ever gets out, like he's done.
Yeah.
Like that's
well,
it.
he's the. It's amazing that he's not done yet.
Yeah.
I believe, and I'm not like I feel like in my guts that are still inside me, it's just a matter of time until he kills someone.
Yeah.
Whether it's accidental or if it's just like holding people underwater, like in the thing we saw, it's like I'm gonna hold you under for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
At this point right now, could I hold my breath for 30 seconds in that type of situation?
Well, I'm already hyperventilating.
Nope.
In the cold.
Like, and plus, like, you know, maybe someone has a terrible reaction. Like, you know, everyone points out to him, you know, oh, you've had one person had a heart attack. Like, that's the one. It's bound to happen again. Like, the human body reacts to stress in some ridiculous ways. So I feel like it's just a matter of time.
After I'd seen the list, and after I'd said, I'm never going to do this again, in one of the documentaries, I can't remember which, before he gets kicked out of the location he's at, he's building this enormous funnel.
Yeah.
Which is designed to trap people. So
Yeah.
2 people will go in
Yeah.
and they'll get stuck at the joint. I mean, that right there, somebody like me, I would die.
Oh. Well, I mean, if you just got to beat the other person down.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It's like a meat grinder, you know? Just
Alex, what did I tell you about not going against other people? You should be doing this for you. You know, this is not, what is it, Running Man?
I'm better at McCamey than you.
McCamey champion. What?
McCamey's the final boss, and there's just different you know, there's the hockey player with the razor.
See,
Or the opera singer.
The opera singer.
I'm still. Oh, I can't think of his name now. It's gonna haunt me.
The opera singer?
Yeah.
That was a real...
I'll pull up the
Was
Google.
he like a wrestler or something?
Well, like his name in the movie.
It was something with a G. It was something very grandiose.
Running Man opera singer.
Yeah.
Googling.
So
I don't want his real name.
where I was stuck, like if
Dynamo?
Dynamo. Yep.
Yeah.
He had all the lights on him.
And he had the car.
He had a bunch of lights in a car.
Yep.
And Jesse Ventura was supposed to be like the best gladiator out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And like he just wanted to go out there and fight with bare arms.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the movie for and like they want to put him in some ridiculous outfit and he quits.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing this. Man of action for Minnesota. But if I was one of the bettors in Vegas and like I'm laying down some bucks on my Marine dad and he makes it like 5 minutes, you think I'm keeping this secret how pissed off I am? This is getting out.
Yeah, it would. It would have to.
It's like I lost $2,000 on this Marine.
You're talking about a secret society of haunt betters. You're talking about, what was it in Hostel? It was like the dog club.
I don't remember the name of it.
They had that like dog tattoo.
I'm sure there was like a Yakuza guy in there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But again, okay. So these extreme haunts. Listen, everything I've said is insane. Every single thing.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
It's, if you don't want to do these, don't do them. If you don't want to know about them, don't ask about them.
Mm-hmm.
I had an intern working for me in the shop.
Yeah.
And she saw, I brought you the 2 postcards.
Oh yeah, let me see those.
I don't know. Yeah. The 2 postcards that I've gotten from Russ, for McCamey Manor. And she saw these on the wall and started asking questions. And it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks before she watched both documentaries. She looked at all the YouTube videos. This was keeping her up at night. This just knowing that this exists kind of scarred her. And so, you know, it's not Running Man. It's not like, oh, we start with a home haunt, then we go to a professional haunt, then we go to a cockroach eating contest, then we go to this, then we go to blackout, whatever. You're not beating any bosses, guys. There's no, just, if you're going, go for an experience. Go for yourself.
One of the quotes here is "Live your own horror movie."
No.
Which is, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Hanging out with my in-law. No.
Are they the same one? Oh, that's true.
Are they the same?
No.
They're not the
No,
same.
They're not. 2 different years, 2 different shows. Those 2 postcards.
That one's 2 hours. This one's 8. But dinner's included in both, you know.
Oh, and the other, you know, I'll give it.
It's like a live turtle or something.
Eat it. It's dinner.
The other thing about the dogs is that they are trained therapy dogs. So when you're done,
Yeah.
when you're done, if you know, however point you make it through McCamey Manor, you hang out with his trained therapy dogs afterwards.
Huh.
Those dogs have probably
Man.
seen some shit.
They're working real hard.
Yeah.
They're giving a lot of
A
therapy.
lot of therapy today. So
I'm at the point where like it was brought up a few times, but like as a joke, where it's like, don't call it a haunt. Don't call it a haunted house. It's not what they are.
Yeah.
It's a torture fetish. It's an
immersive experience.
It's a torture house. It's like it's stepped out of the realm of haunted house now. It's abuse house. You know, it's
okay. So I 100% McCamey Manor, agree with you.
okay.
100%. The other ones, Blackout, Shock Theater, stuff like that. I'm gonna say that some of them may lean into that as a scare tactic to psych you out before you go in. A lot of these places, if you don't want to go in, they don't want you to come in. They're not advertising to, the person walking down the street.
Right.
They're advertising to a very specific audience, mostly word of mouth. Some of these shows aren't announced anywhere. It's just, you have to like this Facebook page or else you'll never hear about it.
Right.
That's
a shame. That algorithm's garbage. Can I get on the mailing list instead?
Yeah, I'm sure there are mailing lists, but yeah, it's a divisive thing. It's like I said, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't even think about it. Don't worry about
no one's gonna make you.
It's like when I pitched Sleep No More, I'm like, it's a fun theater thing. That's immersive. You're in the play. You have to get out of the way of the actors sometimes. You can go in whatever room you want to go in. You can touch stuff. And like there's like ushers around to like guard you so you don't mess up too much things. So like I would encourage theater people to go check it out. I encourage haunters to go check it out. Like, because it's a neat experience to have if you're also in that world.
Yeah.
And like other people might dig it too, but I'm not gonna bring my dad there.
No.
He's not gonna get it.
But imagine back in the day when film was brand new, right? The movies were all so desensitized. Jaws, people were freaking out. War of the Worlds, when it was a radio play, some guy killed his family
because he thought it was real.
Because he thought it was real.
Yeah.
There's no other modern equivalent to anything like that, as far as I can tell, but these sort of immersive experiences. But Sleep No More, but Blackout, but Shock Theater, these kinds of things just put you in a state that you cannot get into any other way in modern society. You are safe. No matter what the media tells you, no matter how much they freak you out, on your daily life, you are safe. This is not.
Have we seen that meme go around, or that joke of like, it comes around on Halloween, and it's like, humans are such apex predators. We have to pay someone to try and give us fear.
Yes.
We have to produce fear artificially by bargaining for it.
Right. And we all have, I'm sure, stories of working in a haunted house, and there's the guy who comes through and goes, "Oh, I can't do that. I'd punch him in the face." You know, every year we get those comments. We're actually planning an immersive experience for 2020.
Yeah.
Where you punch them in the face?
No. There will be sort of another red light, green light, glow stick kind of a thing where you won't get as messy.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did the color of the glow sticks even matter?
Very little.
Okay.
Very, very little.
Because once we got out, I was like, I bet they didn't mean a damn thing.
For you,
they were gonna do the same stuff anyway.
For you, they pretty well didn't. For you, they pretty much didn't. With these things, I always you have to use actors you trust. You have to train them. You cannot use people off the street. I've seen regular haunted houses hire people for minimum wage off Craigslist. It's not.
No way.
No way for this. But we're kind of skewing away from, the we're not going to fake shave anybody's eyebrows off for this one. It's going to be, if you imagine Wet Hot American Summer meets Evil Dead, we'll say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Are you locked in a How What Cabin?
With Bruce Campbell?
It's going to be a camp out. It's going to be an immersive camp out that you are in the environment the entire time.
Okay.
And there will be
It's
hiking.
like LARPing.
It's haunt LARPing.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
haunt LARPing.
Launting.
Stop. It's enough.
Halt.
Yeah, harping was the other one. I like
Harping,
launching better.
And there will be sort of a climax. There will be a thing that you go to. But there will also be, we're going to show movies. So you could do the green pass and you don't have to go. There'll just be little things, creepy things that happen around you, and watch some haunted movies.
Zombie.
And you'll have a nice camp out. Or you go for the regular pass and you do everything, or you go for the extreme pass and you're going to need a really good shower.
You get tied up in your sleeping bag and bashed against a tree.
See,
After having premarital sex.
We're not the only people to do a haunted camp out.
Okay.
And the other haunted camp outs, a lot of them, we're messing with you any time of the night, man.
Right.
We're 6 a.m.
That's what
we're
I'd be
gonna drag
terrified
it.
of.
No, I want to sleep. I want people to sleep.
Oh, I don't.
I don't. You don't sleep to begin with. I don't.
The
Anyway.
more rested they are, the more you can scare them later.
Yeah, and for us, it's an enjoyment thing. We might put some speakers of like babies crying or something out in the woods,
Yo,
but
that would legit. That would be like my trigger. That would fuck me up, dude.
out in the woods.
To be like babies, like my mother ran a home daycare for like 40 years. So like babies crying, like I am very sympathetic to them. So to have one crying in the woods, nah, I'm good, fam.
But I guess me kind of bringing this up is a way to say like these can go very wrong very quick. You can get into that whole Running Man mindset of it's got to be bigger, it's got to be better, it's got to be the mostest. Or you can approach it as an art form and you can say, well, we've got more tools to work with now. How can we use that to create a better experience? And that's where we're going with it.
So you have that plan for 2020?
2020, roughly speaking, we're looking at June, the summer solstice, which also happens to be a new moon. So simultaneously the most
real
light
dark.
and then real dark. And your eyes will not be ready for what you see because you'll have been staring at the sun all day out, doing arts and crafts and hiking and
skiing and
in June?
Water skiing.
In June?
Yep.
I went water skiing.
Good save.
Canoeing.
Yeah.
Canoe,
Canoeing.
Some kayaking. While we're here,
yes.
what else you got going on?
So Decimated Designs is busy as all get out.
Per usual.
We are heading up the makeup team for Ravenwood Haunted House, up just north of Salem, Massachusetts. It's a farm haunt, as I think I mentioned earlier.
Nice.
It's unique. It's a 1950s theme. No clowns, not a one.
Respect.
It's
Wait,
a little
does that
bit...
mean there's a lot of clowns?
He did
I don't
it.
know anymore. I don't know what's
You
real.
don't know what's real.
What is real?
It's good to be on this side of the Alex. Yeah.
Is this what I've been doing to people?
Yeah, it's very unique. There's not much I can say. If you like the Facebook and the Instagram, you'll see a lot more. The marketing campaign starts rolling out. We're also rebranding for 2020.
Ooh.
Decimated Designs will have a new name.
What?
We're not moving away from haunted houses and haunted stuff and horror. We're just adding in everything else. So we're kind of, instead of going on the website and immediately you see the bloody zombie face, you'll see, maybe a giant Thanos statue or a giant popsicle. And then if you go looking for it, you'll find the bloody zombies. But,
Right.
We want to be kind of open to everything. So 2020, we're going quirky instead of scary.
It's a broad market out there.
It is a broad,
If people want set decorations, they don't need an airbrush anymore. Is that
What?
if you're making your popsicles?
Yes.
Like people, if someone wants like set design, decorations,
Yes.
something to catch the eye, bring them into there, whatever,
Mhm.
they might not think to go to the zombie guy.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
But to bring up airbrushes and all that kind of stuff, we're not going to be selling any of that anymore. 2020, we stopped selling airbrushes, makeup, lighting, and fog machines. We're focusing on the big custom creations because I just don't have time to be doing these orders
Or the space, probably.
or the space, for storage. Let's see, what do we got? We got a lot. We just have so much.
Good.
We're shipping stuff all over the country. We're teaming up with a whole bunch of new companies. One of the Connecticut DJs just moved in next door to us, and he's starting sort of a mentoring program. And almost every single person who's come through his door, he has sent through ours. So we've had some of the guys from that VH1 tattooing show. I don't know.
Okay.
Ink Master?
Ink Master, there you go.
Is that VH1?
I have no idea. I just know it's a tattoo show.
Who came in and saw the giant skull on our wall and said, "Hey, could you do that? But it's a butterfly because that's his logo. Is a skull butterfly." So Scutterfly, yeah. So we're gonna be doing a bunch of stuff that's gonna end up on Connecticut hip hop stages coming up soon.
Nice.
Some interesting work.
It's very exciting.
It's a
Kyle,
lot.
this was I came in, I can't remember if it was during pre-show or not, but like I was a little scared of this episode.
Yeah,
I was a little scared.
Is this better now or worse?
I mean, I knew that I'm never going to do them.
Right.
And now I really know
Okay.
that I'm never good. It's nothing like I'm going to watch The Addams Family. That's my version of having a good time around Halloween. But that doesn't mean if that's something that you're into or that you might be intrigued. I mean, you can hopefully it's still up. The documentary that we all watched, it was on right on Netflix. It was
The Art of the Scare?
Yeah, Haunters, The Art of the Scare, something like that. It's like an hour and a half long. It covers a bunch of colorful people in their haunts, and it goes into the world of pretty much everything we were just talking about.
But please know that the extreme haunts are a very, very small portion of the haunted house industry.
Support haunt, yeah.
And yet the documentary devotes half of itself to this very small...
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that doesn't mean, like, there are still the local haunts around that aren't going to punch you in the face. Not that they punch you in the face, but they're not going to drown you. They're going to jump out and go boo, and you're going to go, "Oh my God!" And then, it's a zombie. And you can have a great time. So support your local haunted house.
Absolutely. You might be supporting a farm.
Exactly. Yeah. Where you got your corns and your tomatoes, they're also scaring the bejesus out of you. Old man Jenkins. Am I right? I don't know what I'm saying. It's been a long night. Kyle, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's always 100 episodes.
100 episodes.
100.
Let's not go another 100.
Maybe don't be so damn busy.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
You're like always doing stuff because you're living your literal dream. But respect. This was great. Decimated Designs, changing up, coming at you. If you need a big old popsicle, I got a guy. But that's going to do it. Thanks for listening. I hope everyone has the spookiest Halloween. I don't know what's going on this month.
Do it. It's going to be a good one.
Right? Real spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Until next time, though, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
I was and am Kyle.
He still is.
Still am.
Still is.
Still am.
Still am is.
You're the Kyleist.
And this has been that was good.
Trademark.
And
Trademarked it.
I'm the most Kyle. This has been episode 392 of Opinions May Vary.
Woo!